Hey guys, so for today I'm going to be getting into my series on this channel on how to read tarot cards for yourself. And now, first of all, you may be wondering things like, well, what's the difference between tarot cards and oracle cards because you're brand new? Maybe you know that, maybe you don't. So I'll be explaining that. And I also am going to explain and show you how to read your cards right away. I'm going to actually pull cards in this video. Like one at a time, we're going to read them together, and then at the end I'm going to put them into a very simple tarot card spread that most people use, that even pros use, and you're going to be able to understand how to interpret them and read them right away. And the reason for this series, why I'm teaching tarot cards, why I'm doing this very video, is because I want to show you that you can trust your intuition, your inner knowing, your inner wisdom over everybody else, because we get advice from all different types of people, and depending, like if you're watching the news, you're getting this opinion and it's different than that opinion, and you talk to this person and you talk to that person and you're like, what is the truth? Well, that's why it's so important that you're building these skills of your intuition using a divination tool like tarot. I'll explain that term as well, to be able to know the truth for yourself, which is going to be super important, I think, in the world coming up. So if you're with me, let's go. Let's do this. What is the difference between tarot cards and oracle cards? This is a deck of tarot cards. They're usually like shaped generally the size of playing cards, but a lot of times they're a little bit longer. Oracle cards tend to be like a lot like bigger. They're not necessarily bigger, but most of the decks I have are bigger than tarot cards. That's not the only difference. The main difference is that your tarot deck is going to be broken up like playing cards. It's going to like have different suits. So it has like 4 suits, just like playing cards, and it has court cards, just like playing cards. Plus it has 26 cards extra. That's the major arcana, which are like the major themes of things that happen in your life. The minor arcana is like the everyday things that happen in your life. You don't really need to know too much. Tarot cards are going to be structured in a certain order of 78 cards. And they're going to be broken into major arcana cards and minor arcana cards with the 4 suits or the 4 elements. Every single tarot deck you have is generally going to be organized that way. Oracle cards are not structured in any particular way. They are just going to be different messages that the deck creator wanted to create. So I talked about like knowing your truth, finding your own inner wisdom. That's what people who create oracle cards do. They connect with spirit, talk to the universe, they channel messages through that they think are going to be inspiring or help you to connect with spirit and your higher self, or get important messages on different topics. So there's cards on health, there's cards on relationships, there's cards on like the moon cycle, there's like animal symbolism, there's all different types of deck, but they're all different. So the reason that people learn tarot cards like versus oracle cards is because if you get an oracle card deck, you're going to have to learn that particular deck and that particular messages. It's not going to be the same as other oracle cards or, other tarot decks. With tarot, because it's structured, you're going to have the same type of cards, the same structure of cards in each deck. So once you learn one tarot deck, you know the other tarot card decks, which I think is why it's more popular, because it tends to be easier to memorize like one card deck and just keep using similar ones. And you can use them both together. So they're both divination tools. So I'll explain to you what divination is. It's basically the way you connect with the universe. All different names for that, spirit, higher self, God, source, goddess, particular names of gods and goddesses. Basically, you want to be able to communicate, right? So we ask questions of the universe, maybe we pray, maybe we meditate, right? But we also want to hear messages back, which you would get during meditation. But anyway, basically, you want to connect with the universe and have a way to communicate. So this is a regular way to communicate with the universe and your higher self, or whatever terminology you use. Basically like a telephone line to the universe. Hello. Okay, so I'm going to use my fancy shuffling skills. Now I have a video on how to shuffle your cards if you want to learn like me. But before you read your tarot cards, You're just going to want to give them a shuffle. And so this is a process where like you start to relax. Like I find the shuffling very relaxing. Hopefully it's relaxing to you, even though it's a little bit noisy. And so before you pull your tarot cards, I'm going to speak to this, is that you just want to have yourself in a relaxed place. So you may want to, like, see, my voice is like relaxed already just by shuffling these cards and getting into them. So you want to be into a relaxed place already. You can either take a few breaths, take a couple minutes to meditate, burn some sage, something that smells nice, burn your candle. I have my candle going on the corner. But I find for tarot cards, like shuffling is like something that just really gets you into that space. And you can do different things. Like you can, if you read reversals, you can spread the cards around and do them upside down. But you don't know how to read reversals yet, so don't worry. So that's why I'm spreading my cards around, but you don't have to read them reversed at all. Or you can just spread them across, just play with your cards, have fun with them, be like a child and get yourself into that space that you were as a child when you were really open and excited and everything was truly fascinating for you. And so I'm going to pull 3 cards, and before you pull, you can do different things. I'm going to cut the deck like this. And you just pull when you feel like pulling. There is no way to pull your cards wrong. Okay, now I'm going to go through the cards one at a time, but let's see which cards we pulled. Okay, we have the World reversed. We have the Star. And we have Temperance. Okay, so this card is the World, and it got pulled upside down, but I wanted to put it upright because this, even when you're first learning like reversals, you're going to want to know the card upright first. So when you're learning, you can learn how to read them first upright and then go into reversals, but I'm not going to get too much into that. So you're now, after you were shuffling your cards, like you get yourself into this relaxed state, you want to focus on your 5 senses. You already know how to take in information through your 5 senses. And when it comes to your intuition, when it comes to your psychic knowing, you're still going to get that information through your senses. And now the important thing before I go into how, like what going through the 5 senses, I'm going to go through it with you, is to remember that spirit, your intuition speaks with love, unconditional love. Okay, it's not rushed, it's not pushy, it's not worried about anything, knows everything is part of a divine plan. So anything that comes through that like you're feeling fearful or afraid or pressured, that is from your own, like, I'm going to use the word ego, but basically that is from like your human self, your brain, your logical self. That is not your intuition. So if you're feeling in those like fearful states, that can color your reading. And that's just important to know. That's going to happen, but it's just something that you should really be aware of. So the first thing we're going to read this card is that you are going to use your eyes, right? Your first sense, your eyes. Now, if there is a sense, right? So, let me backtrack. There are 5 senses, right? So there is sight, there's hearing, there is tasting, there's touch, and there's smell. So the most common one a lot for psychic or intuition is sight. So you are just going to look at the card and see what you notice about the cards. And like, you're probably going to notice things about the card and get things coming through that I don't even notice. I'm going to read it in a different way. So I can see that, like right away, we can see that she's got this huge smile on her face. She seems to feel like really happy. And we can see that her arms are open, her chest is open, she's embracing life. And now she's within a circle. So she's being held and protected in this circle. And there's like a lot of energy like coming from the center. And we also see we have these pretty cool like geometric shapes on the 4 sides, right? And they're all different geometric shapes. And so with the geometric shapes, I'm thinking of order, I'm thinking of structure. I'm thinking of someone being held securely and being really happy and joyful about it, that everything was for a purpose, right? And so also I'm looking at colors. You want to pay attention to colors, and you can read more up on like color symbolism. Eventually I can do videos on that. If you want, let me know in the comments. But we have like, there's white on top, right? And white usually represents purity, innocence. So there's a certain innocence here. And then there's colors, which even makes me think of something childlike. And then we have the blue. So it makes you think of like the sky. And so the next sense we could go into is hearing. So now hearing is a little bit different. So any phrases or thoughts, you may not necessarily hear it. Some people do hear auditory messages, like you'll hear a song pop into your head. You'll hear a phrase. You'll remember something that someone said to you at one point. That's your intuition. Don't ignore anything coming through your senses when you're reading these cards. When you're reading these cards, pay attention to your senses. And so a lot of times when I'm reading the card, like an experience that I had where somebody said something to me will come through, or like I said, like a song may come through. So pay attention when you were looking at this card. If it reminded you of like a conversation you had, it reminded you of a song, a word pops through on your head, in your head. So I didn't have any like particular messages. It might be because like I'm reading the card while trying to do a video, but sacredly held structure, order, are messages, are thoughts, like words that came through. So you don't actually have to even hear things, but words, or like I said, music can come through for you. So pay attention to that. Okay, we're going to go to touch next because touch is more common. So you're not going to be touching the cards, but you want to get, like a lot of times you'll get a physical sensation of what the card means. Like you're going to get a physical sensation in your body when you look at the card. And so what I recommend when you're learning the cards is actually put your body in the same position as the card. So you're going to open your arms wide like she is, kind of put your foot up and put your head up like that and do a big smile, right? And it's almost like I'm doing that right now. And let me know if you're doing this with me. I'm not going to turn the camera because I want you to be able to take in the card, as I'm talking, but I'm putting myself in that position and I'm feeling like this huge heart opening energy, like this focus on the heart chakra. And then I'm noticing, again, you can go back to your senses. Like I'm noticing there's some green in here, right? In some of it, it's like kind of like a blue-green type color. So it makes me think of the heart chakra and the throat chakra. Like my throat is open and my heart is open if I physically put myself in the position. And this is something that I did when I first started. I would sit or stand or put myself physically the way that the card was, and it really helped me understand right away. The other thing you want to pay attention to is any sensations in your body. Like pay attention, to your head, to your face, to your throat, chest, your abdomen, stomach, your groin, hips, knees, feet, right? And you're going to pay attention and see if you have any sensation in those areas, right? I'm feeling actually some kind of pressure on my throat chakra right now, like on my throat. So I'm feeling like probably this relates to communication. So you want to pay attention to what you're coming through because this is all about awareness and it's all about observing. So the two other senses you're probably not going to use as much, but some people do get messages through these. So I do want to mention them. Smells, any smells that you have come through. Some people who are psychic or, are intuitive, they'll smell something or they'll have a remembrance of a smell, or they'll get a sensation of taste, something they're tasting or something they ate in the past. So that's valid as well. If that's coming through, then make sure to pay attention to that and what that reminds you of. So now I'm going to take the things that I said when I was looking through my senses and I'm going to combine it in a message. And the way that you would do this yourself, you could write down, you could journal about what phrases and things happened, like your observations, if you want to. I didn't necessarily do that. You don't necessarily have to do that, but let me bring it all together and then we're going to move on to our next card. So what I'm getting from this card is feeling held, open and confident, right? And being so secure, being held, secure and open. and feeling free and innocent and childlike, and feeling like at this point you are really supported in being able to share your heart and the messages that you have. Also, I'm seeing, just noticing, like, this is dream catcher. So having your dreams come true, being protected from like these negative energies. So these are all things coming through. So that would mean, like, this could mean, the world is a major arcana card, right? So but right away, we're thinking that if you're pulling this card, you are feeling at a stage where you're feeling supported and open, and you could be yourself. You may have support from your community. Something may have happened where, you had a friend or a mentor or a family member come through, and there's been a lot of healing in your life, and a stage where you're feeling like you can really talk to them, really be open and intimate with people and connect with them. Okay, now with this particular card, it came out reversed. So I'm just going to give you a sneak preview on reversals. So if you're doing a reversal, that means that energy is there, but it's being blocked or avoided. So maybe it is that you are at a stage where you can trust people, you can let go, you can speak to them, but you're really not sure if you can do that yet. You're really holding back your ability to open up and connect with people, or connect with a mentor, connect with that friend that is coming through. There's somewhere where you're blocking this energy, or it could be other people as well. So we're going to keep these energies in mind, but we're going to move on to the next cards, and then we're going to connect them all into a bigger message in a 3-card spread. So with this card, we're going to relax, and we're going to go through our 5 senses again. So we're going to see what we notice. Now, right away, for me, and you're going to, like I said, you're going to notice other things. So pay attention to that and honor that. I noticed this big, bright light in the sky, right? And now I notice this card is called the Star, and it has this huge light and this beautiful, like, pink and purple, and it's like the stars and the galaxies are around this. And now this is connecting down to a thread to this woman, down here, who is holding on to this thread and connecting. She's connecting with the universe, connecting with the star. And, she's sitting down on the ground. She's holding this thread over her heart and looking up at the sky. Okay, and now physically, remember, right, we want to hold ourselves in that position, right? And so if I'm holding myself in that position, I'm looking up again, and I'm looking up at the sky, and I'm feeling like relaxed. I'm feeling held and connected. So I think what's interesting now pulling these cards is, like, a lot of the similar phrases to the beginning and to this one are the same, which is kind of cool. So, like, maybe those cards have a connection, right? But I'm feeling really protected, really, like, I'm thinking, okay, so the phrase that came through is like mother and a child. It's like this nurturing mother energy protecting. Just pay attention to that, like whatever sensations come up in your body. And I'm feeling this more in my shoulders. I'm feeling it more in my hips, right? If I'm putting myself in the position that this person is in. And so it's making me feel like really grounded, really connected to the earth, but also connected to, like, what's up, what's on top of me, like what's in the sky, like the universe as well. Now you're going to notice for yourself if any thoughts came through, any conversations, any songs are coming through. Auditory, I'm not getting a lot through, but the phrase thread, when I said, it's like reverberating in my mind. Thread, connection, looking up to your higher self. So going back to observing that. But if any songs like came through, or any words or any conversations that you've had with people in the past, you want to pay attention to that. Okay, we're going to go back to smell. Now, I don't have like, I don't usually like smell things when I'm getting messages come through, but this reminds me of being on the beach, right? I live near the beach in New Jersey. And so it reminds me of like, okay. So I'm getting like smells coming through, like from the ocean, like things that I would smell, like the salt water. But I'm also hearing seagulls in the sky, going back to that. So the sensations might not come in order, but you want to make sure to scan through all of them to start like jogging your sensations and what your intuition is telling you. Because now I'm hearing seagulls, I'm hearing the ocean waves, I'm smelling like how the beach smells. The beach has a certain smell when the breeze comes by. taste. So if I'm on the beach, there's actually like a salty taste in the air. Or if you get like salt water in your mouth, there's like a salty taste. So when I'm reading this card, I'm getting this mother energy, protected, held, connected, feeling super grounded, but knowing that there's a divine order that's going to help you, and really feeling secure in that, but also feeling a little bit vulnerable. Like I'm also noticing like her foot is out here as well. Like she has her foot sticking out. So also feeling vulnerable like a child. It's like an innocence, right? This is not somebody who's like necessarily like ready for battle, right? This is like it's like a nurturing energy, somebody, right? It's like a protective energy, really feeling nurturing, like being nurtured, being comforted, feeling connected, feeling soothed. All right, so now I'm going to go on to our next card before we tie it all together. Okay, so this is our third card, Temperance. All right, and we're going to go back, right? Go through our five senses. And we're going to notice, right? I notice like this big halo above his head. I notice these like white angel wings. This is clearly an angel from heaven, and not just because I think he's cute. All right, anyway, and he has like this serious look on his face, right? Almost mischievous, almost a little bit sinister, ethereal. Like I'm looking, what he looks like. And he has these boots. Like there's a brown. So when I think brown, I think like more earthy, like grounded. And the white, I'm thinking more like purity and innocence, right? But we also have this dark brown earthiness as well. So I'm feeling like there's a connection. Like if you notice the color scheme, like it's all white and bright on the top, and then it's dark and more colored, right? There's more nuances in the back. And then we have the moon on this side, and we have the sun on this side. Oh, and I don't know if you can see this, but I can, like, there's like a rainbow, like aura that's around him. So right away, without knowing anything about this card, I'm seeing something about combining two different things. Like combining, there's this white light, like innocence, like angel, right? But then this guy seems kind of dark too. Like he's not just like this like fairy angel that has like positive messages of love and light. Like he seems like he's dark and sinister. Like he's like ready to go out and have a good time. There's almost like this like sexual energy coming from him. And so, it's interesting, right? So we have the sun, which is super bright, and then we have this moon that's dark. It's actually not being lit up right now. Maybe on the side it's being lit up, but mostly it seems pretty dark. So there is this concept of combining like the darkness and the light, and that somehow this is angelic, it's ethereal, it's like grounding. There's something about with this angel that's talking about grounding yourself, right? And also connecting to your higher self. So that's a lot that I got just coming through, just looking at the cards. And you can stare at the card, meditate on the card for like 5-10 minutes, and you're going to constantly see new things in these cards, right? So every time I pull them, I notice new things, and they have different meanings to me. And it's just, you want to focus on the sensations and the messages that you're getting right when you pull the cards. All right. It's not going to be like this cookie cutter formula where every time you pull a card, it's always going to mean this, because the point is that you're trusting your intuition on the card. You're not just following like what other people tell you about the card. That's why this exercise is so important. Okay, so hearing. So I actually got a song in my head coming through for this card. Didn't have them for the other one, but I hear "Life is a highway, I want to ride it all night long." So there's something moving in this card, right? And just like embracing the experience of life, and like driving in your car and like blasting your radio and having this be amazing experience coming through. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is like pay attention to sensations. Again, I'm getting something in my throat coming through. I'm feeling something in my stomach a little bit. And then if I'm like kind of putting myself like in this, like the way he's sitting, he's like kind of relaxed, but I'm feeling like this provocation too as well. So I'm feeling a lot in my eyes, like being able to look at things like clearly and openly and honestly. And like, so it's kind of like looking at your true self, connecting, right, really truly and deeply with your experience. but also feeling super relaxed about it too. It's not like forced, it's not like pushed. It's like, let's settle in and look at what's happening, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we're gonna like ride this out all night long. Okay, now the next thing we want to pay attention to is smell. So I'm thinking of like sulfur smell coming off the highway as I'm driving. And I'm thinking like cigarette smoke. I'm smelling cigarette smoke. Hope I didn't like trigger any smokers out there. And then with taste now, I'm getting like cigarettes or just, yeah, that's coming through. So it is what it is, right? We're not judging anything that's coming through or what it means. We're just trying to pay attention and have some awareness. So darkness connected with light, and there's something angelic about this experience, ethereal and sacred. Okay, so now we're going to pull all these cards together, and what I'm showing you now is one of the most popular spreads, even with pros, the 3-card spread. Generally, this means past, present, and future. It could also mean mind, body, and spirit. There's also other variations, or you can just pull the cards and, just read them, the similarities. But I think it's usually helpful to have like a timeline, like this happened in the past, this is happening now, this is happening in the future. If you're trying to figure it out for yourself or you're reading for other people. So I'm just going to give a quick analysis. With the cards, like the exercises we did with the senses is what you would do when you're looking at all of the cards. And now you're pulling them together. So you want to see certain similarities. Now I still go through the 3 cards separately and then I pull them together. So I would say like the first card, we noticed that there was a childlike innocence, this open heart, but then it came out reversed. And so the energy is being blocked. And that like you want to open yourself up. You're in a good place in your life. You're loved and supported, and you're feeling connected. You're feeling ready to open up about your emotions, your heart, really express yourself in a kind of way. But you haven't been ready to do that in the past. So that would be one interpretation. Now you can come up with whatever you want from the past because you're also coming up with a story, right? You're trying to describe the character in here as well. So you're trying to explain, if you're reading the cards, you want to explain a scenario, and you want to think about the places in your life, like where, you are feeling supported and connected now. You've come through some things and you're ready to open up your heart and connect with people, or you feel supported, or you have a mentor, but you're hesitating, right? So there's going to be a situation, like if you're reading the cards, there's going to be a situation where this connects to, and you want to pay attention to that. Or if you're reading to somebody, that's what you would say. Like there is this situation, right? I'm going to get more into the major arcana and minor arcana. So this is major arcana. So these are major life changes, major things, which tend to be like a job, health, money, finances, love. So it could relate to any of those things because this is the world, and they're major arcana. With the minor arcana, you're going to get into more specifics, the everyday things, like the details. But the major arcana is like, these are like major life changes, big things that are happening. So a little preview of that video there. And then we have the star. So it's interesting here, right? So in the past, it's like I was blocking and avoiding that energy, but now, right, we have the star as the present card. I'm feeling loved and connected and ready to have somebody take care of me. So maybe it's a lover, or maybe, it's getting close to a parent or a friend or someone who's going to nurture you and love you, because you've had, experiences in the past that have prevented you from connecting and opening your heart in some way. And now you're ready to connect and ready to open up. So we would give it an interpretation of that, a description of the card, and we're comparing them. We're like, because I found these cards to be very similar, ready to open up your heart and connect, right? But this is the card where she's really connecting, like you're really connecting, right? And then we have the future. And in the future, basically, there's something about combining purity with real life experience, grounded earth. And so I had that Life is a Highway song. So it's like really embracing who you are, like the bad part of yourself, letting that come out, letting that show through. And that's going to be an experience in the future that you're probably going to need more and more. So that's like how I would interpret the card. You can interpret it your own way based on whatever you saw the card mean. So you're going to look at these cards and be like, hey, Val, that's not what I saw. This is the way I read the cards. These are the symbols I saw. This is what I think the card meant, and it's different than what you said. Great. awesome, wonderful. I want you to get into that energy of this is what I see, this is what I know, this is what I think this story is telling me. So when you're looking at the 3-card spread, you're looking at the story it's telling you. So like stories like have a past, present, and future. That's why we use a past, present, future spread. This also could be mind, body, and spirit. Maybe your mind is like hesitating about like opening up and communicating with people. There would be body here. But your body is feeling ready. You're feeling more relaxed. Maybe you're getting yourself into a state where you're ready to open up and be cared for and nurtured and taken care of. And then spirit, that your angels and spirit guides are protecting, honoring you, guiding you no matter what and where you are in life. So that would be another interpretation. So what I would do is I would take your observations and look at, what similarities do you have in the cards? Like I pulled together and, I could go on and read and read and read. And that's how you get a 15-minute 30-minute reading where you're just channeling through all these different messages. And you see, it can be kind of messy. Like I was trying to go through the 5 senses, like in some kind of orderly way. And I went back and forth, and that's what you're going to do. You're just going to say what you're sensing and feeling in the present moment. You're going to start talking, and then the person's going to start crying and be like, oh my God, you just spoke about like a really deep experience in my life. And then they know that somebody's hearing them. Or, if you're reading for yourself, you're connecting with the cards yourself, I would write down the meanings of the card that you got, see how it connected, sit and meditate with the cards, leave the cards out. They will be revealed in the future what they meant. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that. Just leaving you with some final words of wisdom that you can trust yourself, you know yourself. Now, this is an exercise I recommend to just get started reading your cards right away, getting to know the meanings for yourself and what they mean. And usually whatever you're sensing coming through really does have to do with what the cards mean. Like my husband doesn't read tarot cards, but every time I show him one, he knows exactly what the cards mean, and it just floors me. And so that may be an experience for you. And just to speak to, you don't need to know all these cards right away. When I was first reading, I pulled cards out and told people what I thought they meant. And I had people where that reading changed their life, and I was just brand new to reading. So really trust yourself. I didn't have a lot of confidence at the time in my reading, but it really impacted people in a very strong way. So if you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I'm going to be doing more videos on how to read tarot cards. I'm going to come out with, what the major arcana is, what the minor arcana is, how to read the 4 suits, other spreads that you can do to get started reading, and have fun. Enjoy. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for whenever I release a new video every single week.